Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're really going to get into saving money, especially for those of us here in the USA.
Yeah, it's a topic everyone can relate to.
Totally. We're dissecting a podcast episode all about it called Strategies for Saving Money Effectively in the USA.
Sounds like a good one.
It is. And our mission today is to give you not just, random tips, but like a real understanding of how your choices about money actually add up over time.
It's true. It's not just about knowing what to do, but actually doing it consistently. That's the hard part.
Exactly. Consistency is key. One of the things that stood out to me in this episode was the idea of paying yourself first.
Ah, yes. That's a classic for a reason.
It is, but it's also something I think a lot of people intend to do, but then life gets in the way.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, I'll save whatever is left at the end of the month. But the truth is, there's rarely much left.
So true. So this idea of paying yourself first, it's basically like flipping that script, right?
Exactly. By treating savings like a non-negotiable bill, you're prioritizing your future self, just like you prioritize paying your rent or your utilities.
I like that analogy. It's like instead of hoping we'll have something left to save, we make saving the first thing that happens.
Exactly. And the episode even mentioned automating this process, which can make a huge difference.
Automating savings, how does that work?
It's super simple. You can set up a direct deposit so that a portion of each paycheck is automatically transferred into your savings account. You literally don't even see the money before it's saved.
That's clever. It's like hiding snacks from yourself so you're not tempted to eat them.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind. Now, when it comes to choosing that savings account, there's more to consider than just a regular checking account.
Oh.
We want to make sure our money is working for us, not just sitting there.
Okay, that's interesting. So we're not just talking about any old savings account.
Right. We want to look for what are called high-yield savings accounts.
High yield. I've heard that term before,
Yeah.
but to be honest, I'm not really sure what the difference is.
A high-yield savings account typically offers a significantly higher interest rate compared to a regular checking account.
So basically, my money grows faster.
Exactly. It's like getting a little bonus for saving.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is a crucial first step. Now, once we've got that pay yourself first system in place, the episode talked about budgeting, specifically using the 50-30-20 rule. Have you heard of this?
Oh, absolutely. It's a classic budgeting framework.
It is, but I'm curious how practical it is for someone who's maybe struggling to make ends meet. What if their essential expenses already take up more than 50% of their income?
That's a great point, and the episode acknowledges that the 50-30-20 rule isn't one size fits all. It's more of a guideline to help you understand where your money is going. If your needs are already exceeding 50%, it's a clear sign that you may need to either reduce those needs or find ways to increase your income.
So it's about awareness and then making adjustments where you can.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your finances, not letting them control you.
And that can sometimes mean making tough choices, right? Especially when it comes to that wants category.
Oh, absolutely. That's where a lot of us get tripped up.
For sure. Those impulse buys, those subscriptions we forget to cancel, it all adds up.
It really does. But the episode offered some good ideas for cutting expenses without feeling like we're, depriving ourselves.
Like what? Give us some examples.
One strategy that really stood out to me was negotiation. A lot of people don't realize they can actually negotiate with service providers like phone, internet, or insurance companies to get better rates.
Really? Never thought about doing that. It's like we're comfortable negotiating the price of a car, but not our monthly bills.
I know, right? But it's often as simple as making a phone call and politely asking for a better deal. The worst they can say is no.
That's a good point. It's like they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So we've talked about paying yourself first, the 50-30-20 budget rule, and even the power of negotiation. What other gems did this episode have in store for us?
Well, let's dive into those everyday expenses and see where we can trim the fat without sacrificing, our enjoyment of life.
Okay, I like where this is going. What are we talking about specifically?
Let's start with something we all have to deal with: food.
Oh yeah, food. I know I spend way more on takeout than I should.
It's so easy to do, especially when you're busy or tired. But the episode argues that meal prepping doesn't have to be a chore, and it can save you a ton of money.
Meal prepping. I've tried that before, and it always felt like a lot of work.
I get it. But think about it this way. When you order takeout, you're not just paying for the food itself. You're also paying for delivery fees, tips, and maybe even those extra sides or desserts you impulsively add to your order.
You're right, those extra costs can really sneak up on you.
Exactly. And the episode doesn't suggest you completely swear off takeout. It's about finding a balance. By incorporating meal prepping into your routine, even a couple of times a week, you can significantly reduce your overall food expenses without feeling deprived.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about being strategic and mindful, not about completely restricting yourself. And you know what else I'm guilty of? Forgetting about those subscriptions I signed up for and never use.
Ah, yes, the subscription trap. We live in a world of subscription services for everything. It's so easy to lose track.
Seriously, I've been hit with charges for services I completely forgot I had. The episode really emphasized the importance of regularly auditing our subscriptions.
It's amazing how much money you can free up by simply canceling the services you're not using. It's like a mini financial detox.
So to recap, we've talked about automating savings, budgeting, negotiating better rates, and being mindful of our food choices and subscriptions. That's a lot to digest.
It is, but remember, you don't have to implement all of these strategies at once. Start with one or two that resonate with you and gradually incorporate others as you gain confidence.
I love that. It's about progress, not perfection. But what happens once we've implemented some of these strategies and actually start to see some savings accumulate? Where do we go from there?
That's where things get really interesting. Once you have a solid emergency fund in place, you can start thinking about investing to grow your wealth over the long term. But we can dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm already intrigued. We'll be back soon to explore the world of investing. Stay tuned. So we're back and ready to dive into making that money we've saved actually grow.
Yeah, this is where it gets exciting. It's like we've built this solid foundation and now we get to see it multiply.
Exactly. We talked about automating savings, the 40-30-20 budget, negotiating, and even being mindful of our food and those sneaky subscriptions.
All great steps, but now let's talk about putting that money to work. The episode mentioned high-yield savings accounts as a good starting point, remember?
Right, we touched on them briefly, but tell me more, like how do they really work and why are they so much better?
Think of it like this. A high-yield savings account is a step up from your regular checking account. It's still easy to access your money, but you're earning a much higher interest rate.
So more interest means my money grows faster.
Exactly. It's like a bonus for saving your money.
I like bonuses.
Yeah.
But I think the episode also went beyond just savings accounts, right?
They did. They talked about investing as a way to really grow your wealth over time.
I have to admit, investing always seemed a bit intimidating to me.
I totally get it. It can seem like a whole different language.
It does. But they broke it down in a way that made sense. Like they talk about the power of compound interest.
Compound interest is amazing. It's like that snowball effect, you know? Your earnings generate even more earnings, and it just keeps growing.
The earlier you start, the better.
Right? Absolutely. The more time your money has to grow, the more that snowball effect can work its magic. But I know a lot of people might feel overwhelmed by all the different investment options out there.
I do. Where do you even begin?
Well, the episode talked about a few popular ones. Have you heard of 401ks and IRAs?
I have, but honestly, I'm not really sure what they are.
Okay, so they're basically retirement savings accounts that offer tax advantages.
Tax advantages. That sounds good.
It is. It basically means you're either not paying taxes on the money you contribute now, or you're not paying taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement.
So it's like a win-win situation.
Exactly. And it helps you build a nice nest egg for your future. But there's a difference between a 401k and an IRA. A 401k is usually offered through your employer, while an IRA is something you set up on your own.
Oh, okay. So is one better than the other?
Not necessarily. It depends on your situation. There are also different types of IRAs, like traditional and Roth. It's good to do a little research to see which one fits you best.
I'll have to look into that. They also mentioned index funds. What are those all about?
Index funds are pretty cool. It's like instead of trying to pick individual stocks and figure out which companies will do well, you're investing in a whole bunch of stocks at once.
How does that work?
Well, an index fund tracks a specific market index, like the S&P 500, so you're basically buying a piece of that entire index.
So it's like diversifying your investments.
Exactly. It's a really smart way to spread out your risk. That way, if one company in the index doesn't do well, it doesn't tank your whole investment.
That makes a lot of sense. It takes some of the pressure off, trying to be a stock market expert.
Right. And index funds are known for being relatively low cost and easy to manage. They're a popular choice for beginners.
They did say to take advantage of those employer 401k matches, right? Why is that such a big deal?
Oh, it's huge. Basically, a lot of employers will match a certain percentage of your contributions to your 401k.
So it's like free money.
Pretty much. It's like getting a bonus just for saving for your future. If your employer offers a match, definitely take advantage of it.
Makes sense. It's like getting rewarded for being responsible. I'm seeing a theme here, whether it's automating savings, budgeting, being smart about spending or investing. It's all about building those good
You
habits.
got it. It's not about making huge changes all at once. It's those small, consistent steps that really add up over time.
So true. I'm feeling inspired to really take control of my finances.
Mm.
It's empowering to know that we have more say in our financial future than we might realize.
Exactly. It's never too late to start, and every step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to financial freedom.
Okay, I'm ready for the last part of our deep dive. But before we move on, I want to ask our listeners something. Think about what stood out to you in this discussion about growing your savings. What sparked your interest? What made you think, hey, I could actually do that? Hold on to that thought as we wrap up our exploration of saving money in the USA. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into saving money. I feel like we've covered so much ground already.
We really have. From automating those savings and budgeting to being mindful of our spending and even exploring investing, it's been quite a journey.
It has, but it's all been so practical and easy to understand. I'm hoping our listeners are feeling like they can actually use this information to make a difference in their own lives.
Me too. It's one thing to know what to do, but it's another thing to actually put it into practice. That's why I love how this episode we're discussing breaks everything down into manageable steps.
Absolutely. And one of the big takeaways for me is that there's no one right way to save money. It's all about finding what works best for you, your situation, your goals, all of that.
Totally agree. Personal finance is personal, right? We all have different incomes, different expenses, different priorities. What works for one person might not work for someone else.
It's like creating your own personalized financial roadmap. We've given you the tools and directions, but ultimately, you get to choose where you want to go.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have those moments of impulse spending, or maybe we forget to cancel a subscription. It happens. The key is to learn from those experiences and just keep moving forward.
It's like progress over perfection, right? It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that. And you don't have to do everything at once. Start small, find what works, build those good habits over time, and celebrate those small wins along the way.
Those small wins can make a huge difference in how you feel about your finances, that's for sure. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Everyone faces financial challenges at some point, but with the right knowledge and support, we can all achieve our goals.
Absolutely. So, to our listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to ask you, what resonated with you most today? What action, big or small, will you take to move closer to your financial goals? Because knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So go out there, make those smart choices, and watch your savings soar.
And that wraps up another deep dive.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
If this podcast helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Thanks for watching.